Disturbing facts about Halloween that'll change how you see it forever. Prepare to have your view of Halloween shattered. Discover the eerie, twisted history behind the holiday that goes way beyond costumes and candy. Let's get right into it. Number 7. Halloween wasn't always about candy. Imagine a time when Halloween was a lot less about kids in costumes running from door to door with sugary bags and a lot more about throwing food at each other. Yeah, that was the original vibe of this spooky holiday. Way back in the day, Halloween was connected to ancient Celtic traditions and the harvest festival Samhain, which, no surprise, didn't have much to do with candy. People believed that the veil between the living and the dead was thinner during this time, so they'd leave out food offerings for spirits. Over time, people in the US started trick-or-treating to keep the spirits happy, or maybe just to avoid the whole "let's get possessed by a ghost" thing. Fast forward a couple hundred years and we've transformed it into a holiday where kids get hyped for cavities and adults feel a strange sense of pride over the worst pumpkin carving efforts imaginable. So, next time you're passing out candy, just think. The spirit of ancient Halloween probably wouldn't have cared about a mini Snickers bar. They were more concerned about appeasing the spirits with whole pumpkins, which, let's be honest, sounds like a pretty good deal. Number 6. The scariest Halloween costume ever was a real murderer. Okay, buckle up. Here's one that'll make you rethink that goofy ghost costume you're planning to wear. In the 1930s, Halloween took a sinister turn when a real murderer, who was dubbed the Bluebeard of Halloween, decided to blend in with the holiday. Bluebeard was a man named Henri Desiree Landru, and his costume wasn't a mask or some funny getup, it was a murder spree. He lured women looking for love into his home, got them to trust him, and then, well, he didn't exactly serve them candy. To put it lightly, this dude was the OG killer clown, but far worse. So, remember, when you're out there prancing around as Frankenstein or whatever, there's a dark side to the whole costume thing. I mean, he didn't even need a costume. He had the trust thing going for him, and that's a lot scarier. That's what you should really be afraid of. A creepy guy in a disguise. And it's not the one you thought. Number 5. The dark origins of trick-or-treating. Let's take a second to unpack the disturbing roots of this classic Halloween activity. Trick-or-treating, as we know it today, wasn't all fun and games a couple of centuries ago. Originally, it was known as souling, and it had a far darker purpose. Back in medieval Europe, the poor would go door to door on Halloween night offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food. Yup, sounds like a fun combo of spiritual and economic desperation. These people were literally asking for a treat, in the form of bread, or some kind of food to ensure the souls of their loved ones wouldn't haunt them forever. Fast forward to the 19th century and this custom got mixed up with the American tradition of Halloween. But here's the kicker. It wasn't all about treats back then. If you didn't offer up some sort of food or money, the trick was usually something a little more destructive. This meant eggs on the house, broken windows, or depending on how ticked off the trick-or-treaters were, a fully sabotaged yard. So when kids are ringing your doorbell this Halloween, keep in mind, they're standing on the shoulders of centuries of bargaining with the supernatural. And they might just be planning their own tricks if you run out of candy. Number 4. Your Halloween decorations might be more haunted than you think that cute fake spiderweb you're so proud of putting up. It could very well be cursed. Oh, and those eerie skeletons hanging from the tree? Who knows? They might have been actual remains. Don't freak out just yet. Let's dive into the disturbing world of Halloween decorations. Back in the day, Halloween decorations weren't plastic and inflatable. They were real. People would carve up pumpkins, sure, but they also used bones and skulls to create creepy displays, believing these items could ward off evil spirits or attract good fortune. It wasn't just a fun theme, it was serious business. So if you're into the whole bone-chilling aesthetic, you might be tapping into a practice that's not exactly as cute as it seems. Are your decorations authentically spooky? Maybe you should check where that skeleton came from. You might even be unintentionally summoning spirits as you set up your yard, especially if you're using items like skulls or artifacts with rich histories. The chances of these objects carrying some negative energy are higher than you might think. Just a thought for next year. Maybe you want to double-check the origins of that vintage witch's broom. Number 3. The unsettling truth about Halloween night and the fear of darkness. Here's a fun fact that'll make you reconsider how you view Halloween night. It's not just the costumes that bring out your fears, it's the very night itself. Think about it. Halloween takes place during the darkest part of the year, and that in itself is enough to trigger deep-rooted psychological fears. Historically, societies believed that Halloween night was a time when the boundary between the living and the dead was thinnest, which meant that the night was particularly dangerous. This fear isn't just superstition, it's wired into your brain. You're more vulnerable to fear at night. Your brain's fight-or-flight response is more easily triggered when the sun's down. It's darker, there's less to see, and our primal instincts go into overdrive. The cool air, the shadows, the spooky noises, these all combine to put you in a state of heightened alertness. And as much as we love a good scare, it's probably not coincidence that Halloween is associated with the darkest, eeriest part of the year. If anything, it's a reminder that our fear of darkness isn't just folklore, it's pure biology at work. So, when you're walking down the street this Halloween, don't be surprised if that creepy rustling sound in the bushes gives you an extra chill. It's probably just your survival instincts doing their thing. Number 2. The Halloween Massacre that wasn't a movie. You've probably seen Halloween movies where the spooky, masked killer stalks unsuspecting teens, and thought to yourself, oh, that's just fiction. Well, let me burst your bubble. There was a time when real life did meet fiction, and it happened on Halloween night in 1973, in the infamous Halloween Massacre. It wasn't an actual massacre, thankfully, but it was so close to one that it still makes people shudder. On that fateful night, a series of terrifying incidents, including the real-life murder of a local shopkeeper, spread panic throughout the streets of a small town in the US. People began to associate Halloween night with real violence and danger. The incident was so unsettling that it became a major topic of discussion and quickly became a chilling part of Halloween lore. And guess what? No one expected it. Kind of like every scary Halloween story, it just creeped up when everyone least expected it. Sure, most of us have a blast trick-or-treating and carving pumpkins, but the reality is that Halloween night has seen its share of actual horror. Some of it way more twisted than anything your costume can inspire. Maybe it's time to give those suburban streets a second look as you stroll by those glowing jack-o'-lanterns. They might look harmless, but who knows what history lies behind them. Number 1. The terrifying legacy of poisoned Halloween candy. Alright, we're going full creepy here. Every Halloween, there's the fear of someone slipping something horrible into your candy. Razor blades, needles, or worse, poison. But did you know this horror story isn't just a scare tactic to get you to check your candy bags more carefully? It actually started with some pretty real messed up incidents in the 70s. Sure, the media plays it up, but there was a time when some very sinister stuff went down. In 1974, an 8-year-old named Timothy O'Brien died after eating a cyanide-laced pixie sticks that his father had supposedly given to him. And here's the real kicker. Timothy's father, Ronald O'Brien, was later arrested and convicted of murder after it was discovered he'd poisoned his own son as part of an elaborate life insurance scheme. So yeah, the whole poisoned Halloween candy thing wasn't some urban legend. It was a real crime. After that, the panic about tainted candy became a national sensation, making every parent paranoid that someone was out to ruin their kid's night. Fast forward to today, and we're still haunted by the fear that your Snickers might come with a side of something deadly. But hey, don't let that stop you from enjoying Halloween. Just remember, sometimes the real monsters are in your own neighborhood. So the next time you see that friendly neighbor handing out candy, maybe take a second look. They might just be the real-life equivalent of an evil character straight out of a Halloween horror movie. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.